This is what they do, and we must fight back. You can torture us and bomb us. Fire is catching. And if we burn, you burn with us.
Good evening.
Are you awake yet? I hope. We've tried and we've tried for years and years to use passive resistance and loud voices to make a change. The time is over. Your governments around the world have no other goal than to decimate your entire existence at the hands of the bankers and the elites. The war is coming, and it's your choice to decide if you want to be a warrior or a victim. Denial is not a choice anymore. Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, the #1 listener-supported radio station on the planet. Not giving up. Revolution Radio.
My name's Jimmy. It's Macdonald in the morning, right here on Revolution Radio. Happy Thanksgiving. The bird is the word.
Eyes burn with sting and sweat. Seems every path leads me to nowhere.
Here they come to snuff the rooster, Bruce. Are you there? It's out of control. It's out of control, man, over here. How you doing? Happy Thanksgiving, man.
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Although I am Canadian, living in Costa Rica, so the Canadian Thanksgiving was about a month ago. But we did have some colorful cockfighting up on the mountain yesterday, like for real, like with bets and everything. And the thing about cockfighting is, well, first of all, I don't often get to see it live, but it has nothing to do with the size of the rooster. There's like these breeds of roosters over here that they're actually not that big, but they're just vicious. They're just vicious, and you put two of them within proximity of each other, and they're going to fight to the death for mating rights for all the hens. It's unbelievable, like nature, unbelievable.
Sorry about that. I hit my mouse there. Yeah.
Well, no worries.
Wakey, wakey. Nah, yeah. I mean, there's a cockfight going on in America right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost impossible not to talk about it. Honestly, I mean, it is absolutely. And you know, and the thing is, is if you know, Trump doesn't get in, you know, Alex Jones will be sitting over there, and everybody will be over there, and it'll be like it never happened. Nothing ever happened. We'll sit here for 4 years complaining about how the election was rigged and all the facts and figures that never get put forth, and we'll just talk about it for another 4 years, and you know, just like we talked about the birth certificate for 8 years and didn't. You know, I mean, it's a, you know, it's a bunch of bullshit, man. You know, time's up. You know, it's a joke. And, you know, the rest of the world is, you know, realizing exactly, or not necessarily the rest of the world. I think America is finally realizing what the rest of the world's known for a long time. You know, it's a joke. It's totally corrupt. The end. Trying to pin some fraud on some voter, that's a joke. I mean, if you want to do something, go after the system. And I don't think they have the forensic evidence to go after the system, because if they did, the system would be finished now. I mean, the end. You know, I'm the president of the United States. I got a FISA warrant. I can go get warrants. I can go do whatever I want to do. I can tell my FBI to go arrest people. I can do whatever I want to do. Nothing's getting done. Talking and talking and talking. They're going to keep talking. We're going to drop a bombshell tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to drop a real bombshell. Hey, tomorrow, Bruce, we're going to start arresting people after we drop the bombshell tomorrow, Bruce. Tomorrow's going to come, and then, you know, it's going to be the...
Jimmy, I just got to take care of a dog here. Carry the show.
Yeah, no problem. It's just, you know, ladies and gentlemen, you know, we got a situation going on here where realistically, what are we going to do? Is what's going to happen precisely? Somebody's going to get put in there, and is it going to be the person you want to be in there or the person you don't want to be in there? I don't know. It's a tough road to go down, and I'm already seeing, you know, all these people that used to make sure that they didn't call for violence, all of a sudden now starting to think that maybe a civil war is a good idea. You know, this type of thing, and it's just, you know, we're in a tough spot, and you know, I'm not real sure. I don't see a way out, really. I think the 15th is going to come. We're going to get strung out, and then the decision's going to be made, and then once the decision's made, then what? How do people stand by and just, you know, sit by and let it just continue to go on like this? I don't know.
Well, did you say that you will, as a flag down your right? I guess I shaped up alright tonight, and blood rushed through my skin. I said we'll do this again, at a time and a place you'd like. But my words fall short too hollow. Right at your feet I'll follow up. Make sure I'm set to get some. And you said, well, how's tomorrow? For movies, that's friends no more though. Last time I checked, you get none.
It's the Wet Bandits. Playing a little Wet Bandits there. I had to clear my palate. I mean, this stuff gets me pissed off, you know.
It's chaos, man. It's chaos.
It is, you know. It's like, and I'm so sick and tired of the delusions and the fantasies that people make up about what's going on in a man's head, about how he's gonna save the world.
Yeah.
You know, come on, man. Come on. Listen. He's a human being, man, just like you and me. I mean, can you imagine what he must think?
Very, very, very superstitious lot, those Bible people, Jimmy. You can scare them with a good wind through the woods.
Well, I mean, can you imagine being a man, a regular man like he is, sitting in that office, taking this like you've been taking it for the last 4 years, being the rag doll and taking a beating, and you see daylight right here? You see a way out? I mean, to go away and start your Trump news, TrumpNews.com, do a who is on it. 2015. Trump's gonna stop. He's gonna become a news network operator. He's gonna operate news network. I wouldn't be surprised if he brings Alex Jones on there, and then we'll talk about how harsh it is, and then we'll just wait and run for his son. Have his son run in 4 years. Bring in the young Trump blood to continue on the legacy that he went to the G20, man, and they said, "Look, dude, you better lay down, Sonny, because you're about to destroy the whole voting system of every single country in the world using this stuff. You expose this, you're bringing us all down. Ain't gonna happen, bruh.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen."
Oh, he got spanked hard. Trump ain't taking on the world, folks. It's over. It's over. It's over. It's over. Just get on with your life, man. You know, get back in the cookie factory, go back to work, take the vaccine, and get on it, man. Get on it. No, I'm kidding, of course, but yeah, it just, you know, I'm just kind of like, so I don't know how to explain it. It's just like, really, like as I read through, you know, Sydney's lawsuit, I'm thinking to myself, and you MFers didn't know this before the election? You couldn't have filed injunctions because it's a federal election to say, hey, the White House and we're not going to allow your state to use this vote tabulating equipment because it's unreliable. We believe in and completely endorse state sovereignty if you want to use it in your state elections. But hey, MFer, this is a federal election. You're not using those dominion. Like, why is it so dramatic? Yeah, we knew they were going to steal the election with Dominion voting systems. Really? Why don't you have a better lawsuit then? Why didn't you start preparing your lawsuit and have it written up and ready to go the day after the election? So you could say, yeah, we prepared this before the election. We knew they were doing it. That would be effective. But, I mean, there's a million ways this could have been done. It's being done. I mean, it's a joke. I mean, every time I see Rudy Giuliani in front of a camera, I just want to throw up. Or I want to beat him to death with a wood baseball bat. These thoughts cross my mind, Jimmy. There's just something about the way that guy looks and talks. I don't like him. I don't like him.
He's a rat, man.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you do to a rat. Yeah, if you don't have a cat, you beat it to death with a baseball bat or whatever you can get your hands on. Right?
I cannot believe alternative media people sitting around sucking on his drippy head from his sweaty head. They sit here sucking on him, saying what a great guy he is. Oh, he only had a little to do with 9/11. Oh no, he really won. He was trying.
There you go.
I mean, come on, man.
You just hit the nail right on the head. If this was the truth president we just had for 4 years, why in the F don't we know anything about 9/11 yet? This is the truth president? He can't even figure out something that happened 20 years ago? Bring us that, you know, because his buddies did it. His buddies, Jared Kushner's people. Everybody knows. All right? Come on, man. Right? Freedom. Yeah, freedom. My Bible, end of Western civilization, Well, you know, if Western civilization is the last 10 years or 15 years of American society and politics, I'm okay with the end of Western civilization. It seems to be committing suicide itself, so quit saying there's a murder going on. Jimmy?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, listen, to sit there and have the left-right paradigm show up in such a way that people are sitting there making excuses for the people they used to sit there and rail on, the criminals that they used to rail on are all of a sudden, I mean, Tucker Carlson, man, are you kidding me? He's Swanson's kid.
Yeah.
He is he's one of the elite. I got tape of him saying all kinds of stuff. I don't have it here now. But
yeah.
I got tape.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that too. You know the old Spy vs. Spy in Mad Magazine? Anderson Cooper is the black spy and Tucker Carlson is the white spy, folks. They're the same thing. I mean, the family backgrounds, the lineage, everything. It's mind-boggling. I mean, you do realize Tucker Carlson has never had to work a day in his life, and the only reason he hangs out in Fox is because if he stays home, his mom is going to make him clean his room. Seriously, that's what you're looking at there, folks. The great Tucker Carlson. He gets out of the house to avoid cleaning his room. And, so look, I'm not saying I'm abandoning what Trump stood for and the principle of freedom and individuality and all of these things that I think are really important. They're not going to go away. They're so intrinsic. Look, people think that you're thinking like them when you start to think, oh my God, it's all going to go away. We'll never have freedom on the earth again. Well, look, man, the process of social evolution brought us to a point where we expressed radical individualism and freedom. It means it's in the natural pattern down here, and it'll find itself again when the right soil and climate conditions are right, metaphorically speaking. The same mindset will emerge. Nothing ever leaves this space, and maybe seeking it out and crawling to it on your hands and knees over broken glass is what the world needs to do to realize how important it is, rather than just watch American TV and movies to get the concept of freedom. Jimmy?
Yeah, well, hey, here's the thing. I'm going to show you. I just want to point out how much bullshit is flying around out here. You got all these people saying, oh, it's a communist revolution. It's a Bolshevik revolution. Man, if the Democrats wanted a Bolshevik revolution, why wouldn't they run Bernie with AOC as his vice president?
Yeah.
The thing about it is, if they're going to sneak and steal and they're going to put somebody in there, why wouldn't they have run Bernie and run AOC as his vice president and just put him in there and stole the election? And, if it's all this transparent, if it's all this that they want a communistic America. Listen,
yeah.
I got news for everybody, man. You better start taking a look at some of the main. You better start Alex Jones told everybody not to watch TV, and nobody does. All they get their news from is Alex Jones. You better start listening to some of the other news that's going on there, because I'm gonna tell you right now, the mainstream there's hardly any coverage at all of this whole election thing, and Biden's moving forward with a transition team. Biden is having speeches about his first 100 days, and the vibe of Biden's discussions and conferences they're completely different than Trump. So the thing about it is that people may be sick of the whole situation with Trump. With the whole thing, it's not that they don't want freedom. It's not that they don't want Trump or they're not conservatives, but they're sick and tired of the turmoil that goes on every single day. I mean, every time he has a press conference or he sends out a tweet, it's like this. People are sick of it, man. They just are.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if he's going to get in. I don't know if he's not going to get in. We'll find out on the 15th, but it seems to me that everybody keeps saying tomorrow is the day. Tomorrow never comes, dude. It's like Wimpy with a hamburger.
15th. What's the significance of the 15th? You mean December or January?
December 15th is when.
Is that the deadline for filing anything?
Well, that'll be the electors will come in and put their votes in for who their state says was their candidate. So that'll be the certification of the election, and once the election's certified, then it's going to be a little bit harder for him to try to overturn it. I don't think.
So, I mean, let's review this whole circumstance a little bit, folks. Even including the kid by the side of the road, the 107 manuscript I've been reading from for a week and a half. Oh, we knew all about the voter fraud. We've set them up in a sting. All right, just stop and think about that for a sec. They've had these mo-effers since Wiener's laptop in like July 2016. They've had enough on these guys to go after them for I don't know how long. What more did they need on Hillary Clinton with Benghazi and all that stuff? It's like it's like a never-ending sales pitch. It's like Elon Musk. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. Your levitation shoes are coming. No longer will you have to walk on the earth. We've created shoes that will allow you to walk 6 inches off the earth. You'll never get mud on your pant cuffs again. Your fine wool suit. It's all coming. It's coming. It's coming. And everybody's talking like they're walking 6 inches off the earth, but the product's not here yet. It's not like the whole. What I'm saying is, I totally look. I want Trump to win. Let me be clear about that. Okay, I do see something different about this guy. It's not all a Hegelian dialectic. It's not all a LARP. But I mean, the showmanship and the salesmanship involved in this counter narrative. It's Barnum Bailey, folks. It's getting ridiculous. It's a circus. It's a circus. Just tell us calmly and rationally what's going on, and do it in a court of law, man. Do it in a court of law. So I don't know. And look, if you were to ask me right now, Jimmy, Bruce, what do you think is really going on, man? The only answer I could give, based on the evidence I've seen in front of me, is both sides are literally deliberately trying to stoke civil unrest. They want violence in the streets. When you don't want violence, you do everything quietly. You watch the news on Sunday night and you find out that the Paris police swept out a terrorist cell Saturday afternoon. You don't know anything about it till you're safe. You know what I mean? That's the power of being the head of state. And you look at the last 4 years. I mean, it's like they let Trump in the White House, but he's not allowed to touch anything. Hey, don't touch the FBI. Don't start any big cases. They're not going to listen to you. Hey, don't try and get any fancy foreign policy done. The top level of deputy secretaries in every branch of the State Department is deep state. We've been padding it out since 1989. Good luck trying to fire those people. And so on and so forth. But nothing is take over, Jimmy. I just got an email from my boss.
Yeah, no problem. It's like this. How do you fire these lettered agencies? Because you've given them the power and the technology and everything that they have. If you were to sit there and try to get rid of the CIA will just turn into a black force against you. The people that are sitting there, all the quote unquote, I used to work for the CIA and all this. I mean, there's no way to get rid of this stuff. The thing about it is too, man, when Nixon, when the Watergate thing happened, do you know they cherry picked what they went after Nixon about, right? They cherry picked it to the part about the election. But the real whistleblowing that was going on with Deep Throat was he was telling them that all of these agencies back then had gotten together, that they were all working together, the CIA and the FBI and all this.
Yeah.
And that was what the real whistleblowing was about. But they cherry picked it and used it to destroy Nixon instead. But let the other information lay dormant. No one even knows about it. You think you ask anybody, they'll say that that Watergate and Deep Throat was whistleblowing about the election and about him, stealing information and all this. When realistically it wasn't. It was these agencies, and that's what, when they say the deep state, that's what it is. It's the deep state are all these agencies, and there's no way you will ever get rid of it. No way.
They're dug in now, folks. They're dug in like heartworms on a dog. Listen, what you got to understand, folks, is war is waged differently now, and it has been for some time, okay? Ask yourself this. What is the thing that one is always looking for in war? And the simple answer is land. War has always been about land and borders and all of these sorts of things, okay? Well, we're in a state of war now. They're taking the legal right to own land away from people right now. And there's no shots being fired. There's no redcoats manning a line, 10 miles down the road. War is done differently now. This is how it's done. Capitalism, really, when you study it closely, is a perpetual state of warfare. And I think they set it up after World War II because they recognized something about human nature, that if these MFers are not in a state of warfare all the time, they don't think they're getting anything done. So they put us into a state of perpetual warfare, okay? So when you get people on this station and other people talking about like, oh, competition is bad, we can create an ideal utopian, pull your head out of your ass. In what world is that going to happen? Do you want to go? Sorry, I just got another email.
That's okay.
Do you want to go the other way?
Well, I mean, the thing about it is that we, as people, we're, there is no. There's supposed to be I mean, the news is supposed to be there so that we can make intelligent decisions. We get our information. They put it forward. We get to discern it and then decide what we want to do. But our news is not unbiased. Now, ever since Trump's been in office, I've tried to stay out of the left-right paradigm. I bust his balls every chance I get if he does something wrong or if something's lame and I see it that way. I haven't been on the bandwagon or whatever. You know what? So I'm not going to have to eat my words if Trump doesn't come in. I'm not going to have to sit there and be quiet and take it like a man, like everybody told all the Democrats to take it like a man back when Trump won 4 years ago. Are you guys going? Are we going to turn into snowflakes? Are we going to start crying? Are we not going to take it like a man, like we told everybody else to do? No, I don't think so. I think everybody's going to cry, and they're going to do everything that they talked all this shit, and they're going to be hypocrites, and that's the thing, man. If you don't stay unbiased, if you jump on the bandwagon or you get on one side or the other, then guess what, man? You're on that side. But like I said, I don't think the Jones operation will be destroyed if Trump goes out. I think he'll sit there and go, you know what, ladies and gentlemen, blah, 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 blah. I mean, he's going to just sit there for 4 years talking about how the election was stolen. Nothing will happen. And then, look, Biden's going to come in if he comes in, and nothing's going to happen. It's not going to be like there's going to be some transformational thing that happens and they're going to start hanging, Christians and all this. It's bullshit. People that are spreading this stuff, man. I mean, you got to get a hold of yourself, ladies and gentlemen. You got to get a hold of yourself, man. And
they didn't hang you. Look, the truth is, when you analyze, we'll see you on the other side, folks.
Toyota's Mission Incredible Sales Event is on. Your mission? Save big. Score 0% APR. 1,000 cash back on RAV4.
You're listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message. Revolution Radio.
You don't see it, do you? How close we are to absolute chaos? The sick ones are sitting on their fat asses, eating and drink themselves into a stupor, polluting the world without a second thought while it goes down the toilet. Nobody wants to do the nasty work. The shit that we all just think about. Most good citizens are just along for the ride and then bitch and moan and complain about everything when it doesn't work out. Not me. Get it done.
Revolution Radio, where we do the nasty work. www.freedomslips.com.
Travels to Earth through the rainbow crystal bubbles from the furthest reaches of space and time, across the dimensions, through the elements, and in harmony with the colors of the universe. Through her mastery of abstract stream of consciousness malapropisms, she weaves a web of comic, satiric, cosmic conversation. Her subjects can range from Norman, the goose next door, to astrology and earth changes, and into the deep recesses of the soul matrix. She holds a wealth of knowledge knowledge on herbs, plants, and astrology. Join Mona and her guests on Adventures of a Feral Hippie as she touches the earthly radio waves 5 days a week at 2 p.m. Monday to Friday on Studio B at Revolution Radio. Join Revolution Radio every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Studio B for Momentary Zen with host Zen Garcia at freedomslips.com, the People Station.
My name's Jimmy. Happy Thanksgiving. We are raking it over the coals right here. Macdonald in the morning with Bruce Macdonald. Bruce Macdonald. Are you there?
Yeah.
They got us in a stranglehold, baby.
Yeah, it's a straitjacket, man. They're about to narcotize us. Hey, look, the simple reality is for getting over your indignation right now and for realizing how much that you've been jacked up by the media and all their mind control techniques is honestly ask yourself, if you were to look at the last 12 years, 8 years of Obama and 4 years of Trump, where did what we'll call the enemy, the radical left and all of that, where did they make most of their gain? Was it under Obama as president or was it under Trump as president? It's my thesis, dear listener, that the left made incredible gains under Trump. It like more than one. They were pulling stuff they never would have pulled when Obama was in office because it just would have looked too obvious because they had the White House. So it's like whatever here we are on the cusp of the Great Reset, on the cusp of a great reset, according to the World Economic Forum, snuck up on us with no debate whatsoever. None, folks. I mean, think about the amount of debate that went into the Paris Accord. It went on for years, folks. They were debating the drafting and resolution of the Paris Accord for years, at least 1 or 2 or more years. Okay? Same thing with all this big legislation, the Trans-Pacific Partnership. They've been drafting that for years. Years, folks. Okay? So it takes a long time for the left to move their agenda forward. Apparently not that long at all under Trump. Trump became the emergency that mandated the immediate. Now, they pulled the trigger on their master plan, which is the global reset, which undoubtedly, look, I don't know what to think of the vaccine, okay? All right, so there's some places that I differ with the with my compatriots here on what we'll call the right, but the whole left-right paradigm doesn't even make sense to me anymore. On principle alone, I don't think any government should have the right to put anything into your body. Anything. Okay? And if you want to say no to it, then say no. All the people who believe in the government and who get whatever the protective measure is, in this case a vaccine, well, guess what? They've protected themselves from your dumbass who didn't get vaccinated, and nature and Darwin will take care of you. So it's a win-win for everybody. So why is anybody even fighting about this, right? So, but on principle, I don't think they should be able to force anything into your body. But if you're asking me straight up right now, do I think this is the mark of the beast spoken about in the Bible? No, I don't. Okay? I like this is what I've been saying for well over a year now on Rev Radio, okay? What they're going to do is they're going to play these basic themes in the Bible in a big, big way because they know their touch points and they know their trigger points, okay? These have been control levers in the human consciousness for centuries. Right? You go back to the turn of the millennium in 1000 AD, and there was an equal and proportionate per capita population back then talking about the end of the world and biblical prophecy in Europe. Okay? And those MFers were illiterate and they didn't have social media. I mean, all the stuff we got now, it's just like gasoline on a fire. That's what this social media is. I mean, somebody drops a cigarette, it's a forest fire in 30 minutes. You know, hey, did you see? Hey, did you see? Hey, did you see? You know, and yeah, so I don't know what to, like if I'm expressing disappointment today in Donald Trump, well then, okay, I'm expressing disappointment in Donald Trump. I don't know what he was up against, you know. Oh, by the way, let me be clear about this, okay? I do think John Trump will get a second term, and he will be in the White House on January 20th. I don't think Biden will take the White House. I'm just saying, look, when you tie in this Q narrative and you tie in the whole clandestine underground narrative that is the Trump movement, which is bad. Underground politics is never good, folks. It's always revolutionary. So who's behaving like the revolutionaries? You or them? Us or them? We are. Yeah, they got Antifa. I mean, that's very public and visible. They dress in black, go out on the streets and create mayhem and try to intimidate people. I mean, we've got encoded rat line communication through QAnon and all this crazy crap. Who's more acting like a revolutionary force?
Well,
you've got the revolutionary communists on one side and the revolutionary American founding fighters on the other. It's all fantasy, folks. It's all in your head. It's nonsense.
Yeah,
ahead,
I mean, it's just the thing about it is they're really it has no bearing on anything. Just like you were saying, I mean, the reason we're in the situation we're in is because everybody on the right went to sleep because their boy was in there and he was going to take care of it all tomorrow.
Yeah.
He's going to take care of it tomorrow. Care of it tomorrow. Hey, man, if you worked for Trump, I'm going to tell you something right now. If you work for Trump and you were supposed to do something and you came to the office and he said, did you do it? And you said, no, I'm going to do it tomorrow. And tomorrow came and he said, did you do it? And you said, no, I'm going to do it tomorrow. You're fired, dude. You are fired. If Trump is who everybody says he is, then why doesn't he just come out and say what he wants to say? Why does he have to say it in secret? Is he saying, oh, he's going to talk in code? Oh, it's just like the Bible, you know.
Go Veffy. Yeah.
I'm just saying, it's like the Bible. You interpret it how you want to interpret it. You read it how you see it. You take what he says and make it mean something it doesn't even mean. It's absolutely the delusional behavior around Trump and the mythos created by Alex Jones and the Infowars /
and again, all the biblical crazy. Okay, all the gematria, the numbering, we're involved in an esoteric war with dark forces. They're using black magic and we're gonna come back with white magic. Join the chosen. Join the chosen, you know, for the promised land. Like the biblical undertones in this it's been overwhelming right from the beginning, right? And there's been a particularly bitter pill for Christians to swallow in the Trump administration because there's a tremendous sense of betrayal. Like the Christians left his camp about a year ago. I mean, just, witness what's going on this radio station. At the beginning, he was a prophetic figure. He was, historically and circumstantially a kind of reincarnation of King Cyrus, the Persian king, who protected the Israelis and recognized their state back in the day, right? Like 3,000 years ago. I mean, they're minting coins to this dude in Israel, man. They're naming a subdivision after him in the Golan Heights, and this is a guy who likes his name on stuff, if you haven't picked that up yet, okay? So this whole and what was the name of that guy who made the rounds there about 6 months ago? Kerry Cassidy had him on. Everybody had him on. He was the great decoder. Freak, what was his name or something? Or...
I have no idea, dude. I do not listen to Camel Toe Cassidy.
Okay. Anyways, yeah. So, again, it was, look, like, I'm not saying these things aren't going on, folks. Okay? Like the baby mills, the underground stuff, the Satanism. I wrote a book about it. I stand by everything that's in the light of darkness, okay? It's really going on. Proportion, I don't know. Is it tens of millions of people? Is it millions of people? I don't know, okay? But it is going on. There's enough evidence, there's enough footprints in the snow to say that it is going on. But basically, all Trump has done is equitized it for election collateral. Is that the way you want this stuff handled? It's like, like the entire thing is so unbelievable. It's unbelievable, right? Like it's like just the way the whole thing has come about and the way that all of these ideas are bandied about now. So a political election is about saving children in underground bases. How did our society ever get so corrupt that that would be considered an election issue in 2020? I mean, come on, seriously, really. It's a bit ridiculous when you think about it. Jimmy, go ahead.
It wasn't an election issue. It was only an election issue in the alternative media.
Yeah.
So it was not none of these issues that we quote unquote know about. The mainstream there is no inkling of what's going on there. And the difference, I'm going to tell you right now, the reason the apparatus will be so easily turned around on us, especially on the conservative viewpoint, the reason it'll be so easy to turn it around on us is because it looks Antifa's out there, but there aren't thousands of Antifas on the air day after day, 24 hours a day, pounding a message that they get handed down from In-Q-Tel and Palantir from a place called InfoWars, which is actually a technique used by the military, an info war. Okay, with a seductive character beating a drum, driving you down a path, turning people against the government, turning military folks against the government. Now there's this whole sea of lone wolves waiting to just strike. And you don't think that they're going to turn that around? I mean, what is the number one threat from the Department of Defense? Right-wing, conservative, Christian militia groups.
Mm-hmm. Right back to the head of the terror list. Right back to the head of the terror list, like 2015 and 2016, when the gentleman Negro, the caramel catamite, Mr. Barack Hussein Obama, a.k.a. Barry Soretto, was in the White House. Nothing's changed. It's gotten worse, folks, when you're honest and you look at it, okay? It's gotten worse. And the way the Trump administration and his handlers have gone about doing what they said they were coming in to do, look, come on, man. Come on, man. Seriously? My best guess at this point, folks, is that the entire Trump thing is some kind of Mossad psyop. There's an intelligence agency behind this, okay? And, really, substantively, from my perspective, my life will not change one iota under a Biden presidency, okay? And, all Trump did was make me wish things were happening that never happened, right? So by the way, that's the Buddhist definition of suffering, right? Desire. He made me desire things. And now they haven't happened and I'm suffering like everybody else, right? So, but again, this is all moot. Jimmy and I, we're just airing our thoughts this morning, right? Taking a counter perspective on what's going on here and being real, because this is what the alternative media is about. It's being real. It's not picking favorites because you're locked into a belief system, right? It's not picking favorites. It's just telling the truth. There's some things I really dug about Trump. And honestly, I hope he gets a second term, man. And I hope these people get arrested. And I hope I end up eating my words. And I hope I end up eating crow, because everything that guy was talking about subliminally, I agreed with. I want it to happen, right? But it never happened is the point, folks. We don't know for sure all of these underground arrests happened. We don't know. Okay? And that's the point. Ask yourself this. If you're all smug and proud about the covert war you've been a part of on the Trump team, covert info warrior that you've been, how would you feel if the left did it? How would you feel if they started talking in code and you're sitting around with your hillbilly buddies having some beers, reading the Bible, going, Jesus, I don't know what's going to go. Are they going to, what the hell's going on here? They seem to be communicating with each other in a military fashion. Are we in danger? You'd have those thoughts, okay? You don't think the left has those thoughts? The entire thing, the entire cue, this whole Wano Savin, kid by the side of the road, was the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. It's ridiculous, okay? Ridiculous. The only people who are going to believe that nonsense are people all jungled up in the Abrahamic nonsense. Jew, Christian, or maybe even some Muslims, okay? That's it. The psyop was leveraged off of Abrahamic scripture. Okay? You've been played. They played you. He's not King Cyrus. Okay? Oh, I've been warning for months, if not years, about the dangers of prophecy-based spiritual teachings. They're time bombs. Because if nothing happens, something has happened due to the loss of expectation and hope. Look, you don't need to tell people the future to convince them there's a God. It's everybody's responsibility to research it themselves. Oh, I think I'm going to take up meditating for a year. Keep a journal. Hey, this worked pretty well. I'm going to extend this out to a second year. After 20 years, you kind of understand what they're talking about, what God is, and a whole bunch of other stuff. The whole way they've gone about, and this is the weakness. This is why the Abrahamic religions have been war doctrines from day one. Those crazy Jews and their idiotic God have set us on a path of confrontation and violence for 3,000 years. God smiting these people, God killing these people, God's chosen people. It's ridiculous. Sorry, Jimmy.
No,
hey, you notice I didn't swear there?
I did, and but the thing, the alternative media, what is even the purpose of even having an alternative media, man? If you're not going to sit there and use your same skills on every single thing that comes across your desk, you see Trump gets elected, you don't use your researching skills to stay up his ass every minute of every day, you all of a sudden just go to sleep and just go, okay, man, my guy's in there. Everything's okay, man. Rudy Giuliani's good now. Look at these rag dolls, man, that they throw up there for us to hate. Soros, Clinton, Hillary Clinton. Look at Hillary Clinton, man. Look at Hillary Clinton. Yeah. She's an overweight old lady, man.
Yeah.
I'm just saying these rag dolls are memes, man. Don't you understand? People don't understand mimetic engineering, dude. We've been talking about it here with you, and we've been trying to hammer what it is.
I announced that new book in the first half hour. You weren't listening.
No, I was listening.
I said, Yeah, so Jimmy, and we're going to try a new way of working here, folks. A way of collaborating on a book using the same tools that software developers use to code in disparate parts of the world, all the networked coding infrastructure like GitHub and stuff. So,
So the
yeah,
memetics, memetic engineering is when I say Hillary Clinton, you think of whatever you think of that you've been programmed to think. I don't even have to say anything else. All I have to do is just say the word. And that's the thing. If the alternative media simply exists to feed you talking points that came out of InQtel over there at InfoWars,
yeah,
you want Palantir talking points from the AI. There's video. There's a documentary you could watch. I know it's on PBS, and that might be a liberal operation over there, but I think you should take a look at it, ladies and gentlemen. It's called The United States of Conspiracy. It's a nice documentary, and it's done specifically around Alex Jones and the Trump campaign in 2016, and it shows specifically Alex Jones's dialogue showing up in Trump's speeches. It's just like Hillary Clinton saying she's gonna reveal the UFOs if she gets elected to get a bunch of people who believe in UFOs to go down and vote for her. He was out there saying all the stuff that Alex Jones was saying and resonating with patriots. They needed the patriots, and they needed Alex Jones's operation to help push Trump over the mark for 2016.
Yeah, they equitized all of our psychic energy. They harvested all of the intentional energy cultivated in the alternative community. That's how Trump got into office, folks. From a strategic standpoint, it was brilliantly done. Brilliantly done.
And what they did was they played to Alex Jones's intense need to be really recognized as a legitimate person and journalist in the world. And so they send in this operator, Roger Stone, black operator from the Nixon administration. You should see the smug look on his face. He can almost barely contain himself when he's talking about his idea about coming to Alex Jones with his listenership and all this, and how look, you got worked, man, and we did. Everybody got worked, not just you. Everybody got worked. And the thing is, look, it's an operation front to back, period. Look, everybody's all about the emails. Well, go back and look at some emails from the Democratic National Convention where they had 4 dummy candidates in the Republican race. Go look at who those names are. Yeah, it's funny. One of them's sitting there. One of them's your president. Was he a Trojan horse the whole time? I don't know. He might have been. If the alternative media was on point, maybe we'd have been investigating a bunch of stuff and we'd have found out. It's funny how this Epstein thing happened, and then the COVID thing happened, and then Ghislaine Maxwell ends up in prison. Ghislaine Maxwell used to ride around with Trump's first wife, picking up young girls to do photo shoots in New York City. Come on, man. Man, listen. We've been had. I'm just telling you. He may get in. If he gets in, the country's going to burn down. If Biden gets in, so? Do you think there's no way that these leftist extremist groups are going to let that stand? No way. And that's the thing, too, is like people think that there's only right-wing extremist groups, and that's just not the case. The left wing has just as many extremist groups as the right does, and they're just as well armed, just as well funded, and they have just as many ex-military people working there with them, and so there's no difference. The sides are set. The war is ready to roll. The social engineering has got everybody up to the point where now you even hear people calling for violence, calling for revolution, calling for hanging, calling for turning off the news. I actually heard somebody say, let's just censor all the news right now. I was like, what? Oh, man, listen, we can't survive in a world where we have to do the things that that we find distasteful. You know, we're gonna act like the very people that we despise in order to get what we want. We're gonna harmonize with crooks and rats like Giuliani, sit there slobbering all over his leg.
It's not just Giuliani. I mean, that Barr is a scumbag too.
Yeah,
he was the bag man for Iran-Contra. I mean, come on, man. He is the ultimate swamp creature. He cleaned up Daddy Bush's mess, right? I mean, Daddy Bush is the darkest figure to be on the public stage in quite some time. Probably the only legitimate expression of behind the curtain and front of the curtain power being unified in maybe the entire history of the United States. Bush was a big deal, man. You know, they say there's rumors out there, I heard, that the true wealth of that family is between 1.5 and $2 trillion, the Bush family, right? And that's just, I mean, that dude had his hand in every cookie jar. He started the coke trade, and it's never good, folks, when somebody from an intelligence background becomes the leader of a country. It wasn't good when Andropov took over the Soviet Union, and it wasn't good when George Bush Sr. took over the United States for 4 years. Or 12 if you count the vice presidency under Reagan. You know, look, what Jimmy and I are trying to stress this morning is, look, it's not the end of the world, man. Is it a turn in a bad direction? Yeah, it's absolutely a turn in a bad direction. But maybe this is what's needed. Maybe this is what's going to wake people up when they're jamming needles in their arms and their kids are turning autistic in 6 months, or the side effects start coming in. I know it's baptism by fire. I know our mission in the alternative media is to inform people that nefarious players have been operating on human beings, you know, for generations now in this democratic experiment we call North America. But it doesn't seem to be too many people listening at the end of the day. And it doesn't matter what color or stripe they come in, you know. There's lots to be critical about this Trump presidency, man, you know. But again, the resistance. I have never seen that, never heard about it in history, never seen a leader meet more resistance than Donald Trump. We'll see you on the other side, folks.
Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message. Revolution Radio.
You don't see it, do you? How close we are to absolute chaos. The sick ones are sitting on their fat masses, eating and drink themselves into a stupor, polluting the world without a second thought while it goes down the toilet. Nobody wants to do the nasty work. You know, the shit that we all just think about. Most good citizens are just along for the ride and then bitch and moan and complain about everything when it doesn't work out.
Not me.
Get it done.
Revolution Radio, where we do the nasty work. www.freedomslips.com.
We did not engage in conflict that was out of line with our mission.
Is it disloyalty? Is it treason to oppose the hands of tyranny? Never!
I will never send troops anywhere on a mission of that kind without telling them that if somebody shoots at them, they can darn well shoot back.
I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty! Oh, give me dead!
A dark cloud is finally lifting across the world as U.S. military intelligence and their global partners are destroying the deep state criminal power structure that has ruled over our planet for hundreds of years.
We are free with the God-given right, and we shall not yield that right to any power on earth.
Hi, I'm Scott McKay. The world is at, and I am your host on The Tipping Point on Revolution Radio, where every Monday from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern, we bring you the latest in this ensuing takedown of this global criminal empire.
That's an image of strength.
You'll get the raw, hard truth here on The Tipping Point. So come join us Mondays, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern in Studio B at revolution.radio.
I will defend myself against their tyranny. Number 3 is my radio broadcast. I'm squarely in front of the public all the time, and they all know what's going on.
For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on for expanding its sphere of influence.
Hello, my name is John Wayne, and I do a broadcast here at freedomslips.com, revolution.radio, called The Unequivocal Truth, DEFCON 1.
Freedom and fear are at war.
And folks, I assure you, we are in Defense Mission 1, as we journey perilously through this paradigm that we currently reside in. And I ask that you join me every Saturday, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for The Unequivocal Truth, DEFCON 1.
We shall never surrender.
My name's Jimmy. It's Macdonald in the morning right here on Revolution Radio. It's Jimmy Vaughn.
Don't want no shackles. Don't want no shackles on me. Don't want no shackles. Don't want no shackles on me. I sit down with Big Brother. Don't like those RFIDs. Got the blues about my freedom. Got the blues about tyranny.
Bruce McDonald.
Yeah.
Are you there? I got the
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take some callers in this last segment of Bruce McDonald, McDonald in the Morning with Jimmy Jean, Thursday, November 26, 10:33 a.m. my time. And I believe it's 8:33 a.m. Jimmy's time, and it's 11:33 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I got my boss all over me. I got some writing to do. Thank God I'm working right after this show. But you can call in at 864-810-1039. Let us know what you think about this. Special preference given to callers who've actually read the 80-page, mind you, double-spaced lawsuit that was filed by Sydney. But other than that, anybody can call. So also seen that Tinker one at Skype. So here we are, folks. You know, we're at the, I don't know, we're at the end of something, right? Now, look, I said some things in the last segment, and I want to be very, very clear, okay? There are things going on in the political process globally now that we can clearly see the etchings of something that I would describe as anti-human. Okay, and now I'm not jumping into biblical rhetoric. I'm not going to say satanic, Luciferian. I used all that language to a certain extent in The Light of Darkness, the book I wrote with Bob Wiegand. But even in that book, we abstracted away from that, okay? But basically, there is an anti-life agenda afoot right now. But here's the thing, folks. If you don't own, when you understand something, you own it, and when you own something, you can explain it in any language. You look at the Christ, okay? He was a genius because he was so illuminated that he could look at anything and use it as the basis of a parable. A mustard seed, throwing seed on the ground, the weather, whatever, taxes. Well, what do you pay? A coin. What's on the coin? His face. Yeah, give it. It's his. Give it to him. It's just the sheer simple perceptual genius of the Christ. You should be able to do that with this situation. Stop seeing it through the biblical narrative, okay? Stop saying devil and stuff because, look, they've been working hard on a program to counter that, and they have at least half the people. At least half the people, maybe 60, 70, 80% have been programmed through the educate. Look, I'm watching this series on Amazon Prime right now. John Z is sharing his Amazon Prime with me. It's called Hand of God with Ron Perlman about a judge. And I'm not recommending it per se, but it is like just completely dealing with this entire radical Christian underground in the United States, okay? And that's what it's become, okay? It's become a radical Christian underground. There's no unity to the evangelical teachings. Everybody is in direct communication with God. Everybody's hearing the Holy Spirit. Everybody's getting visions. Look, you look effing crazy to the left, and to me too, because I actually know what a vision is. I actually know what the Holy Spirit is. And I quietly sit here on these round tables and go, no, MFer, you're not hearing the Holy Spirit. Okay, go back to the drawing board. You're a novitiate in the spiritual unfoldment world. And, and I'm not saying, like, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not trying to, tip over your sacred cow and your religious beliefs. Why am I even talking about this? They're your beliefs. You're allowed to believe whatever you want because they were weaponized. Socially, politically weaponized. That's why I'm talking about it, because you were used as the weapon. See, wars aren't fought with guns anymore, folks. Get this through your head. This is what nutters like Michael Aquino and Steve Pachenik are hired by the military to do. One from the magical world, one from the pharma-psychiatric world. Their job is to F with people's heads so it never gets to the point where they pick up a gun and pull the trigger. And because they can forego actual physical death, they think whatever means they have to use to get to that end are justified because the end is saving life. People aren't killing each other. This is the basis of mental and spiritual warfare. Do you understand? And it's in full swing right now. Okay? The Trump campaign was a ham-fisted weaponization of the increasingly paranoid and increasingly Christian underground political voice. They weaponized it, okay? And they weaponized it in such a way. And now, what did you get for it? Did you get a better America as a result of it? If the answer to that is no, then you were used. What did they get out of it? Who's they? I'm not even sure I know. What did they get out of it? Okay? So, it's interesting to note, Jimmy, some of the early moves we're seeing, in the Biden administration. Israel is so pivotal to the American political landscape right now, folks. It's unbelievable, okay? You need to understand this. I'm not being anti-Semitic by bringing this up. The word on the street is one of the first things Kamala Harris, who is one of the most vociferous supporters of the Palestinians on the planet, by the way. Did you know that? Okay. One of her first
actions is going to be restoring funding to all the American Palestinian lobby groups, and that funding was cut off by Trump and his people. Federal funding. Okay? So there's a lot going on here right now. You want my advice, folks? You want to understand what Trump was really about? Ask yourself, what's going on in the Jewish world? Right? What happened? Why did the Democrats suddenly break with the Jewish agenda in 2016 when Obama not only failed to veto the criminalization of the contested sites, one of the contested sites in Israel, I believe it was the Gaza Strip, it was a UN resolution, he actually sent American State Department employees to the United Nations to cooperatively work on the drafting of the resolution without telling the AIPAC lobbyists who had gotten him into office with their money, because they love that guy and he stabbed them in the back. It's very interesting, okay? So you want to understand how Trump got in for 4 years? It was a religious psyop, okay? They knew exactly what they were doing. Exactly what they were doing. And then now at the end of the day, ask yourself, what really has changed? What more do you have? How have you benefited from Trump's presidency? I don't see too much. All he did, you know what Trump ended up doing at the end of the day? He became the town crier. You know, the fat dude in Rome who would read the news every morning without any microphone or speakers, just barrel-chested out to the crowd? That's the town crier, right? Basically, all Trump did was get up like a town crier and exacerbate these ideas of a satanic cult controlling the world. Right? But he did nothing about it. So he announced their presence in the world, which if you go back and you listen to all of those whistleblower interviews going back 25 years, it begins with Arizona Wilder, Kathy O'Brien doubled down on it, and Zvali doubled down on it. 3 female defectors from the Illuminati underworld. The first interview was mid-90s, David Icke, Arizona Wilder. They all said the same thing. These people, whatever you want to call them, the Illuminati, plan to declare themselves to the world, openly announce themselves to the world in the early 21st century, and they will present themselves as the only solution to the world's problems. Well, I ask you, what did Trump do in 4 years, other than herald them onto the world stage? There you go. Back to you, Jimmy. Are you there?
I am here. Yeah. No, I mean, you gotta, when you look at things from a political perspective and you step out of your filter bubble for a minute and you look at the rest of the world, the thing is that while I agree with making America great and, wanting our country to be great, I don't want that to happen at the expense of the rest of humanity.
Yeah.
And so I mean, it's a great idea. America could be a great country, and the thing about it is that just like anything, if you are a religious person, and I see you. And I see your life, and I see how you're calm, and I see all this, but you never ever say one word to me about what religion you are or what your spiritual beliefs are. And I see you as a person, and I really like the way you are as a person. You're a giving person. You help people. I say to you, then I ask you, I say, hey, what's your spiritual belief? And then you have a certain spiritual belief, and maybe now I want to do that. I want to become what you are. I want to investigate your religious beliefs because of the way you present yourself, not by the way you sell me on it. Don't sell me on your religions, man, and your belief systems, because listen, realistically, how much of what's in the Bible was actually even said by Jesus? Okay,
Yeah.
So the thing about it is that there's one thing and one thing only, and that's the golden rule, And the thing is, we're in trouble here, man, in America. And the thing is, we've been put to sleep. We've been in a sleeper hold for 4 years because people got ethered on Trump. But the thing is, like I said, if the thing is if everybody believes all the things they say about Trump, then why doesn't he just put? I mean, he's the kind of person on that TV show. He put people in the room and fired them in front of everybody. So I mean, if he was going to smoke people and get rid of people and clear the decks and all this, he would have done it. He would have done it. He didn't do it because he's got the biggest excuse in the world, man. When they ran this whole impeachment thing, this tied everything up. And before that, it was interference with the election. So last time it was all about when he won for 4 years on the mainstream media, it was about how the Russians interfered with our election. So now the next 4 years will be how the election was a fraud, and we'll talk about that. Meanwhile, nothing gets done. You see what I mean? It's a replay, man. They run the same game on the conservatives as they do on the liberals. Hope and change? Yeah, man, hope and change. But it means what you think. You're hoping the changes he's going to make are the ones you believe in. But he never says what the change is because he creates the illusion that in your mind you think he's going to make the changes that you want. But he doesn't make any changes that you want. And listen, the agenda has moved forward. And, all he can say is, well, my hands were tied because of everything that happened to me. It's not my fault. I really wanted to do good, but I was prevented from doing good, Bruce, because, the press was unmerciful and all this. And, and it just was one thing after another. And I just couldn't really do any of the things I wanted to, Bruce, because, the president doesn't have all that power that I thought, when I came in, I thought I was going to be able to change the world and make it better for mankind. But, then I found out I couldn't, then they took me in the room and showed me the other Zapruder film or whatever. What a bunch of bull.
Well,
man. Come on.
You just raised a really interesting question, okay? What do they do with this MFer now? I mean, you want to talk about a big mouth. You're never in the history of the Oval Office going to see a guy leave that office and talk more than Trump. People, you're not going to be able to shut him up, right? Because he's not going to be bound by anything when he leaves office. And then we can maybe get some kind of an accounting of what happened in those 4 years. It would be great if he actually wrote a book or commissioned a book to be written about his 4-year presidency and what really went on. But if he's truly the tell-all outsider to Washington, we should be getting more intel from him and more support from him when he leaves office than when he was in office. But again, we're getting ahead of ourselves here, Jimmy. I don't think he's going to be leaving the White House. Although, what happened? He pardoned Flynn today. Right? That's something you do when you're expecting,
That's right.
Crossing your T's and dotting your I's.
That's right. That happens when you're when you're leaving. I don't ever remember another president who was going to be in for 8 years ever pardoning a bunch of people. I'm not saying a bunch of people. He hasn't pardoned a bunch of people yet. But pardoning people before he leaves, before his 4 years is up. I don't ever remember that happening. So, and, Biden's put out messages that the Trump administration has been very nice to them and helping them right now and this and that. So, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen with the election, man. It doesn't matter what's going to happen. The point is that Trump, okay, listen, all this other stuff's still going on while we're all on this, and we're waiting until tomorrow for the big biblical Kraken. You're smoking the Kraken. Man, if you think...
I thought the Georgia submission was the Kraken. I thought that case I read the introduction to, the statement of claim.
Yeah.
In the third, I thought that was the Kraken. That's not the Kraken?
No, I think it is the Kraken. I don't know. I'm not sure what the Kraken.
A lawsuit is the Kraken?
No, the Kraken is actually a counterintelligence. It's an actual tracking system. It's an AI or operations. It's a system that they have to track all this stuff.
Yeah.
Contrary to what we're seeing being fibbed. It's an actual military, they use for surveillance. That's the Kraken. It's an actual system.
It is a system. Okay. It's also a supercomputer. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff. It's also a trading platform for Ripple XRP that just came out.
It's a cryptocurrency platform. It's been around for several years. It's one of the top performing platforms, and they're actually the only platform right now that has their own bank. That was released about 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah, I think that was.
They had their own bank, Kraken, the platform.
Yeah, and I think that was when that word was brought out. I think that was almost immediately right after that. I think that was a name drop for people to make some money, because right after that, Bank of America made an announcement that they were going to be using XRP for their transactions because.
Well. No, that's a partnership that Ripple Labs, XRP has with Bank of America. They've actually been partners for a while, but now XRP is actually pumping it up. They're getting into the next phase of their systems. It's a whole network. What you're trying to boil it down to is it's very broad. It's very expansive, and I wouldn't put the connections together.
Well, irrespective.
What do you got to say for yourself there, our friend from the slaughterhouse of the Midwest? You called in. What do you think about what do you think about what you've heard here today?
Yeah, there's not enough time to get into all of it, so we only got a few minutes left. But I'll just say, you were saying Trump will release all this stuff, and they can't shut him up. They're already talking about how they're going to indict him. They already got people out there talking on these news media broadcasts, going, Senate and Congress doesn't have to stop investigating him once he leaves because he committed so many crimes when he was in office. So basically, they're already trying to get a leverage point that this guy committed all these. It never happens to any other president in history except for, what they did to Nixon and whatever. But they're already got themselves at a leverage point. Like he committed crimes and they're going to go after him, his children, whatever. But that can all go away if he keeps his mouth shut. He's doomed if he does, he's doomed if he doesn't, okay? He has to win this election. He knew he had to win this election because they were going to lock him up and shut him up and teach him a lesson and take him out of the picture and so on and so forth. We've known this narrative for years. Good.
Yeah, well, I mean...
Do you really think they could get away with that, prosecuting him after he leaves office and maybe even incarcerating? Do you think his base would allow that? I mean, he's pretty much like Napoleon now. They had to put Napoleon on an island by himself.
Right. Well, here's the best thing he could do. If we ever had any hope and wonder if this guy thought he was leaving office and he was a man of the people and he really wanted to expose, he'd be releasing documents, unclassifying things left and right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
Data dumps, wazoo.
Let me jump in real quick because listen, he would be more concerned about his children's ability to carry on his legacy than he would be about being the greatest revelator in the history of mankind, to drop all the declassified documents. He's going to go start the Trump News Network. He's going to destroy fake news. He's going to hammer it for the next 4 years. The whole base is going to get behind it, and one of his kids is going to run 4 years from now against these communists. That's what's going to happen. He's not. I honestly, I hope I'm wrong. I hope he gets elected. You guys. I hope he walks in there.
Jim. Jim. I don't look out of this conversation. We're listening, and I like you, Jim. Me and you are kind of we're good acquaintances, and we've never said anything negative. I've never said really anything negative about you or whatever, and I presume the same. But I don't know what you want out of all this. I don't know what you think you're going to gain or whatever. I appreciate your research. I appreciate Johnny's research. I appreciate all this stuff we uncover from the past. All these people's research. We cover so many and so much garbage and how we've been shafted and this is done and all the deception and the wars and everything. We know all this. But right now is a different time. Right now we have a chance to actually come up with use that information to get forward, because all that stuff is just digging up the past and pointing out the past. What can we do today to move forward?
Well, I think as
if you could just take that research and Jim, help us get California back.
I'm helping
get these people out of there. Help us get this country back, Jim. That's what we need. The pessimism is dragging us down. We need to take what we got, what ground we have, and bust through. That's what we need to do.
It's what I'm doing, man. I'm being honest, and I've been honest since he's been in office. The alternative media has dropped the ball because they got back into the left-right paradigm. We need to take what we have here, the platforms that we have to change the world with, and use those instead of pumping down the talking points from Alex Jones, and everybody do their own thing and get together and make this happen like it's supposed to. We need to have the kind of information where people can make a valid decision, not based in one side or the other, but the whole information, so we can all discern it and make a move forward. But we're in a clouded situation where we're on one side or the other. The only way to move forward is we got to move forward together, and we can't even have a conversation together because we're so far out. I mean, I don't know what to do. The only thing I can do is be honest, dude. I know it. I know what I say. Today is painful, man. But I mean, at some point, don't we have to just know and see what's going on and move from here? I mean, I love you, dude. You do a good job. You do strong research, and you got a great voice, and I hope you keep it up, man. And I hope next time when there's somebody in office like Trump, we don't go to sleep like we did. I'm just as guilty as
somebody
everybody.
in office that's like your neighbor that you know from the neighborhood and whatever. This is the system we need to get to, because all these people that are like, oh, their daddy went to Georgetown and their daddy was a prime minister and their daddy was an ambassador for this country, and now they're in office and they're the son of the son. We need the person next door elected. This is the system we need to get to, the people that we actually know, not the people that are famous, not the dynasties. I don't want a Trump dynasty. I don't want a Clinton dynasty. This stuff has got to go, because we need our neighbors to be the local mayors and the congressmen and the senators. This is what
Somebody
we need.
plug the station, please.
Revolution Radio, revolution.radio, freedomslips.com. Support us at the network. We got 2 studios with over 90, 100 hosts now. I mean, it's incredible. Archives are free. Just go to the landing page. Username and password is right there. There's a Patreon page. Please check us out. Join the chat room. Share your information. Let us know what's going on in your neck of the woods. And we appreciate you, and you all be safe out there on these holidays. Go ahead, Bruce.
There you go. And that's another edition of Macdonald in the Morning for Thursday, November 26th, folks. Some caustic information today, but it needed to be said, okay? It needed to be said. We need to pull our heads out of our asses and realign ourselves with what's going on around us, and pull ourselves out of this ridiculous pastime of amateur biblical prophecy interpretation. See you tomorrow.
Well, there we go. The end. So, I don't know. Let me go over here and see if you guys are anybody even still here. So, oh my God. So what do you guys think? Was it too much? I don't know. It is what it is, I suppose. So, I need to shake it off. Let's play some music real quick. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Let me play some music because I got to go over here in the chat. Hold on. Oh, man. Everybody hates old Jimmy, man. Hey, what can I do? I'm sorry if it, being, it's just, looking at it from a different perspective might be good for some people. Who knows? I don't know. Hold on. Let me do this real quick.
tell you a story about a little girl I know. When she walks into a room, you know she steals the show. She's crazy. And it's more than I can stand. I'm just crazy about that woman, and she's just crazy about this man. She wakes me every morning with that tender loving touch.
All right. So what are you guys up to? What are you guys up to? People are sending messages about the show. So, do you guys want to do a Forbidden Kev Baker episode? Let me know in the chat if you have time. Let me go line this up real quick. I'm gonna play this a little bit longer. I gotta go grab some hot coffee, man. I'll sit out here with you guys for a bit more. It's 9 now. I can play, cause it's only 60 minutes. So give me a second. Let me grab my coffee, and I'll play a little bit more of She's Crazy. Wants me round when I just ain't got no time. But you know she's got these little ways to make me wanna change my mind. She's crazy. Hey, hang on one more second, because I need to heat my coffee up because it went cold. Hold on, hang on a second. Just give me 2 seconds to go heat my coffee up real quick, and then I'll be back and we'll do Forbidden Kev Baker. All right. They're calling it the Bruce and Jimmy cold shower. That's fucking too. That's classic. All right, hang on. I'll be right back. Hang on.
When they come to take you down, when they bring that wagon round, when they come to call on you and shake your poor body down, just one thing I ask of you, it's just one thing for me. couldn't do no wrong. You had everything sold up tight. How come you lay awake all night long? Just one thing I ask of you. It's just one thing for me. Please forget you knew my name, my darling, Sugary. Shake it, Sugary. Just don't tell them that you know me. Shake it, Sugary. Just don't tell them that you know me.
Lying to the FBI about meeting with Russia's ambassador to the U.S., but he later disavowed his plea and tried to get the case thrown out. In the spring, the Justice Department abandoned the case, which until the presidential pardon was still tied up in legal limbo. Lisa?
Thanks, John. The president and his lawyers are still challenging the election results.
This was an election that we won easily. We won it by a lot.
He called into a meeting of Pennsylvania Senate Republicans where Rudy Giuliani spoke in person, continuing claims of widespread voting fraud that no courts or election officials have verified, some involving Dominion voting machines. The company issuing another statement today saying the allegations are unfounded and that it categorically denies them. President-elect Joe Biden offering hope for Thanksgiving.
America's not going to lose this war. We'll get our lives back. Life is going to return to normal, I promise you. This will happen. This will not last forever.
He says we owe it to frontline workers to try to slow the spread of COVID-19 and that masks and social distancing are the tools we have until we have the vaccine. His transition team getting its first briefing from the Trump administration today on Operation Warp Speed. America is listening to Fox News.
This is the Truth Frequency Radio Network. We are TFR. Truth Frequency Radio.
Feel it coming in the air.
Yeah.
The sonic symbols everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm addicted to the truth.
I'm ready.
It's a dangerous love affair.
expose it.
Can't be scared when
I'ma
it goes
reverse it.
down. Stand for
Flip the
freedom
script.
here and now.
Undo the spell.
Only thing that's on my mind is who's gonna free this town
Bring it.
tonight. Who's gonna free this town tonight?
Yeah. What's up?
The new world order's going down.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back. I'm live. It's hour number 2 on today's Kev Baker show. And back by very popular demand indeed. It's my good friend, the esteemed researcher, Jimmy Jeans. Jimmy Jeans. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I am good. I'm hanging by a thread in FEMA Region 9. It is a November day right before Thanksgiving, and I'm just taking stock, Kev, and just being thankful for all I have to be thankful for.
Are you Americans over there finally waking up to how crazy you Americans truly are?
We are. That's the thing is, I stepped in a steaming pile of reality on my way into the studio today. It's still on my shoe, and I cannot get the smell off. Reality over here in America these days, you guys were all right about us. I guess we are crazy. It's panned out.
Is there any krakens coming over the horizon, Jimmy? Anything on that front yet? No? Oh, imagine my surprise.
I think someone's been smoking the Kraken, for real. But hey, Kraken might have been a buy signal for XRP. So there's a whole new platform selling Ripple. It's called Kraken. Just came out. So Ripple's going up, isn't it? It's kind of funny. I thought it was an interesting drop of a certain kind of word, maybe to let everybody know, hey, FedCoin is going full Ripple XRP. Bank of America signed a deal with Ripple. The transaction time for a Ripple transaction, 0.7 seconds. For Bitcoin, 2 hours. For Ethereum, long time. So you can see why the Kraken has been released for the new digital Mark of the Beast currency. You won't be able to buy or sell without it. Get yours today. The Kraken.
Well, I don't know about the Mark of the Beast right enough. Everyone's got their own take on that. I've heard so many things are going to be the Mark of the Beast. Who honestly knows at this point? We're laughing and we joke, but I tell you what, man, the only thing that makes sense to me is that everything we're seeing playing out in America right now, we're meant to be seeing it playing out. I want both sides to think about this, and I'm not trying to trigger anyone, but everything has been done right now to trigger all of you. Yes, it is. Left and right side of the aisle over there. And the whole world is watching, and it's on purpose. And the rigging, anyone who dares to keep an open mind and look at the evidence can see that this goes beyond rigging. It's beyond industrial scale shenanigans. Yet, at the same time, the other side of the aisle, they're living in a state of total denial about that. And it's irrelevant what has got the people divided right now, because it's the division that is most important. And I would love to tell people on the right that all of the examples of blatant shenanigans that are out there are going to make one iota of difference when it comes Inauguration Day, and you'll get your orange man back in there. But I can't honestly sit here and tell you that, because all I see is people being played with, people being wound up, and people being forced further and further apart. And that division's real important because you can control all of it. You can use it for X, Y, and Z. And I think we're going to see an implosion of a country, the likes of which we've never witnessed before, live. Now, we've seen the collapse of the old Soviet Union in our lifetimes. Many of you, probably be about my age, will remember the wall coming down and all the Yugoslavias, the Hungaries, the Romanias, all these things, the Eastern Bloc, all of that. It all came to an end. But we weren't in the digital age at that point. And you had to go from, say, 6 in the evening when you had your evening news, and you would get one more update later on in the day at 10 o'clock over here. Then you'd go to bed and not care about it until you seen a newspaper the next day. And it was just something that happened. Only this time, it's going to be something completely different. And I'm very, very fearful for what happens in America in the next coming months. Because it's not just an American thing. Oh, yeah, sure, America is the spectacle right now. Because I speculate that everything that's been done right now with the shenanigans around the elections, all of it's theatre to wind people up, to get people more divided for when, unfortunately, the first shots will be fired. Call it a civil war, call it an implosion, call it what you may, but the reason being, in my speculatory kind of scenario here, it has to be highly visible. People have to be able to look at it and be shocked, be angered. In fact, they'll be looking at it, and the hope will be that they're fearful. Because if people are fearful that something like that can happen to America, then that gives governments a rare opportunity to offer them X, Y, and Z as an antidote as a way to avoid what happened in America. Now, being a show that's based on an American network, I have to be very, very careful what I say, not because anyone polices what we say here on TFR, but because I've got a responsibility, as does anyone with a microphone and a podcast and a platform right now. And I don't know the varying degrees that people have been psychologically played with, but they have. And I don't want to be responsible for saying one wrong thing or one throwaway comment that might seem innocuous to us on the show. You might get I'm joking, but somebody out there might see it and take it a totally different way. And it might be the comment that broke the person's back. Because with social media winding people up constantly, telling them that their version of reality, it's their way or the highway, and the other side being told the same thing, everyone is really, really tense right now. And I can't imagine what it's like being in America. I can't. Because when I look at social media, all it does is reaffirm what I'm thinking is going to play out. America is going to be a spectacle that the world watches as they implode it for the Great Reset. Now just think about that again. They want you to see the blatant shenanigans because they want people to be out there. They want people to be shouting. They want people to overturn this election because of the rigging, the shenanigans. You honestly think these people are that stupid that all of the evidence is coming out just because of, people that are on the ground and they're working tirelessly to expose this? Or does it make more sense that they made it blatantly obvious that there's shenanigans, that they wanted everyone to see it? Why would they want people to know that the country that spreads democracy around the world can't even have a democratic election in their own country? Because they want to bring down the big boy and they want everyone to see it. Now, I could be wrong, and I challenge you to write down what I'm saying and check me for it a couple of months from now. If it doesn't happen, then I was wrong. But I also want you to be honest and write down what your other favourite hosts are telling you. And be very honest about it. If they're telling you this is going to happen, that's going to happen, well, write it down. Let's see who was right in the end of the day. And it's not going to be a case of, well, I told you I was right. But I tell you what, people need to be responsible for what they're saying right now. Because they're all playing in to a game that the only side that benefits is that very, very elite few on the top. And like I said to Frank and I said to Don before the break, it's one big club, Jimmy. And none of us are in it. Now, I could be totally wrong, bro. I could be totally wrong. But the only thing that makes sense to me is that everything we're seeing, they want us to see it. They want the theatre. They want people to be angry, dude.
Well, the shiny city on the hill example, America shining forth through the darkness, creating this illusion in people's minds of being free, and America is, the home of the free, land of the, land of the brave, home of the free. Land of the free, home of the brave. But, the reality of the situation is that it's just like anything else. There is nobody above anybody else. I mean, anyone can make a mistake. Anybody can go down the wrong path. Apparently, we've been going down the wrong path for a while. And it's not necessarily an organic thing, Kev.
No.
Because I can tell you recently – the work that I've done on Nixon and what was going on during the Nixon administration ties directly into what's going on with Trump. This is a replay of the script that was running then, because when you look back, there was racial divides. There was all these micro groups sprouting up, looking for attention for their causes. The government across the board was stomping on anybody who cropped up. You had the American Indian movement. You had the Black Panther movement. Both of these movements were within their own communities trying to help their own communities. They weren't out there trying to cause problems for anybody. They both got stomped in. People got killed. Big shootout down in Los Angeles, which ended up turning into what we see now today as a militarized police force. Militarized police force that is causing violence and anger in a lot of different communities, the same violence and anger you saw back when Nixon was president. Now, I don't know if you've ever heard about this, and I found out about it just the other day because I want to share it with you, man. When Nixon was president and the hippies were out protesting after he went into Cambodia, the hippies were all out in the streets, man. 350 universities burst into flames. People were protesting. They shot some kids. And 4 days later, there was a big protest in New York City. And the hard hats in the United States of America, the union workers in New York City, they said they had enough of these commies marching around in the streets. They fought for that flag, and no one's going to burn that flag. And the hard hats went out into the streets, and they got into a big brawl right in the street in New York City where they just beating hippies. Everybody was fighting. It's the same exact thing that's going on right now. You know, all these people complain, oh, it's a communist takeover. It's a Bolshevik revolution. You know, it's a Nazi overthrow. All this stuff, man. And it's the same exact argument that's been going on. And listen, we have been socially engineered into this position. So now here we are. We're here. And the tone is all of a sudden changed across the plane of the social media and across the plane of the alternative media, because Alex Jones is in a position where he wants to start calling for a little bit of unrest. Where all these years he's gone so far out of his way to make sure he never called for any kind of violence.
That pisses me right off. Listen, look, Alex Jones is in America and he can say what he likes. However, Alex Jones has got an even bigger responsibility than I said I have. I'm not even 1% the size of Alex Jones. I'm very, very cautious in what I say because I know that people have been wound up by 4+ years of mimetic warfare and social engineering to take them to a point where they're ready to kill their fellow American. That's not me being hyperbolic. That's what we've been watching. That's what's made social media so weird. That's why me and Scott and Jimmy were what is this Q thing back at the start? And you watch what it's done to people. You look what it's done to people. And Alex, I know you don't bother one jot to listen to other shows like mine, because I'm not on the Trump train, so he won't be listening to me. But he has got so much power in his hands. And when he's telling people, like Jimmy says, they're even hinting and indicating that you should be out in the streets doing this, do you know who wants that? Do you know whose bidding he's doing? It's the same people he said he was exposing when he got invited. When he snuck in to Bohemian Grove. It's the same people that he was telling you he was exposing when he was at the Bilderberg meetings. The only people that will benefit from shots being fired in some kind of second American Civil War, it ain't going to be me and you and people like us in America. It's going to be the people at the top of the tree, the ones who will sit back and they'll quaff their champagne the same way they did when Occupy at its very start was taking hold before Soros infiltrated that. And Alex Jones, he has got so much responsibility, like you say. But I'm just a daft Scottish person, as I've seen one person saying, what the hell would I know? Exactly. What the hell would I know? And that's why I've been very, very, very strict in inviting people like Nano Girl, American. Charlie Robinson, American. Granted, myself and Ben Emlyn Jones talked about it, but Ben Emlyn Jones is a MAGA man. So he's like basically been following it. He knows what he's talking about. Jimmy's an American. It's not my place to say that thing that's going to cause somebody to go over the edge. And that's not me being egotistic or narcissistic, thinking I have the power to do that. We just don't know. It could be a joke you crack. It could be something you just throw away. And never forget, people have been wound up to the point now with 4 years plus of being played with being manipulated, with being nudged this way and that. And over time, behaviors have been changing, and all of it, like Jimmy says, this is the biggest mass social engineering experiment that 7 billion plus people have ever been a part of. And only some of us see it. Only some of us can see it. Does that make us better than anyone else? Nope. Nope, because we're all still in it. We're all still being manipulated, Jimmy. We're all still having our buttons pushed, even if we think we ain't. So I don't know if Jimmy's still with me there. He looked like...
No, I'm with you, man. I'm listening to you because...
I thought you were typing away there, dude. It looked like you were looking down doing something. But yeah, the social engineering, the social media, the mimetic stuff that we talk about. I mean, right now, Jimmy, wouldn't you agree? It's a really kind of weird kind of way of looking at things, but if somebody is off the mindset that there's this globalist push right now via the COVID to get us into the Great Reset and take us towards this digital, oh, hallelujah, the new digital age, what makes more sense? A, to be going all over social media, telling them how you feel about every single topic, raising your head above the parapet and identifying who you are and what group you associate with? Or would it be more prudent to maybe act as the observer, Jimmy, and watch what is playing out right now? Because all I see is people being put onto lists, being put into groups, and come the big change, well, these things will very much have a real-world effect with things like social credit scoring, controlling people, and controlling people, Jimmy.
Well, why do you think they call it dope, man? Dopamine is the key ingredient to any induced psychosis, at least from what I can see on the research that I've recently done on the subject. But, I mean, memetics is a big part of what we're talking about here, because the memetic engineering that took place years ago, those people are still memetically engineered, and the same struggles are resonating with that group of people. So not only do you have the younger people who have been, memetically engineered in the last 120 months program that they ran to get us prepared for the moment that we're in, because we're here, we've arrived at the moment. And so the idea is what's going on in America is America is in the whole scheme of what's called harmonization, America is up higher than everybody else. America, in everybody's eyes, if it was to be brought down lower, everybody else would stand down in their ideas of wanting freedom and democracy and a republic.
Jimmy, you think about the democracy word there, right? And I can't remember who brought it up on the show. I think it was Charlie, but talking about how America's been spreading democracy, right, with the war on terror and things like that. That's why, for me, the only thing that makes sense, and I'll get your thoughts on this, but like you were saying there, if you can show the whole world how ridiculously broken and corrupt democracy is in the shining light of democracy, then to bring it down so visibly and to make such a show and a song and a dance and make it so that even people that aren't interested in politics are looking at some of these videos going, now, come on, that's a bit dodgy, right? These aren't stupid people. They want us to see how dodgy it is. So do you think I've got something here, Jimmy? Do you think I'm on the right frequency, the vibe, that all of this, for people outside of America, it's going to be like some spectacle that we watch. It's going to be the collapse of an empire, and it's going to be like a reality TV show. Empires collapse. That's what it's basically going to be like, I'm a way off the mark, Jim.
No. I think you're 100% on the mark. I mean, we've got a reality TV star sitting at the helm of the country. So, I mean, the revolution will be televised. They said it wouldn't, and I'll go one more. Not only will the revolution be televised, my friend, but it will also be monetized. And let me tell you another thing. I'm just telling you, you make your own decisions, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know where you sit on the fence, but if I'm a journalist or if I'm somebody, I sit someplace where I don't, the thing is, Alex Jones, he's thrown all his eggs into that basket, and a lot of people have followed those talking points, and they've thrown all their eggs in that basket too. So if there's a lot of people that have almost everything they've ever done invested in whether or not the Trump gets in the second term. Because if Trump doesn't get into the second term, a lot of people have to go back on a lot of things they've been saying for a few years. So people are invested; they don't want to let go. I want to tell you, I heard today. I was walking by. I heard the TV on. I could hear a press conference, and I heard Biden, and I heard him in there, and I heard the whole tone of the discussion was so much different than anything that's gone on with Trump, that it's a different kind of a tone coming out of there. I don't care about the politics of it. I don't care who his cabinet is. I'm just saying the tone of America, Biden's tone is more let's all be together, the world. Let's come together as a world, as opposed to America first, America, forget about all you. We'll do what we're going to do. Forget about it. It's not like that. It's a whole different vibe. So I guess the idea now, and I've done a bunch of work on this, but we'll have to get into it on the other side of the break, is extremism. Because there are extremist groups all over America that are getting ready to pounce. Okay, the minute. We have 2 weeks left, man. The ball is in the air right now. It hasn't hit the ground. It's going to bounce. We don't know where it's going to go. But when that election becomes certified, if it does, a bunch of stuff going on in court today. There's still hope for people that are on the Trump train. If you're on the Biden bandwagon, that thing's rattling down the trail. Trump has been Biden.
You've got two realities, two very distinct realities, and two groups of people live in that. Two realities that are playing out at the same time.
I know, two total fantasy realities, because
yes,
everything is all being made up because nobody knows what's really going on. So it's just being made up. Everybody's living. Somebody's bubble is going to get popped. The ether that's being pumped into this bubble is going to blow, man.
I'm hearing YouTube shows. I'm hearing alt media shows. What happened to our alt media? What happened to the alt media being unbiased, pointing out the left-right paradigm? What happened to it? It's not there anymore. I hear YouTubers saying, oh, you just wait. We won't be like that left. We won't be burning down shops. There'll be people not going home. Well, I actually heard that on a YouTube stream. People telling that to their audience, firing up the same people that are into this stuff. I swear, I wish I had a magic wand and I could put a stop to what's about to happen in America. But I think that ship has already sailed. And Jimmy, I'm actually fearful for how this plays out when that bubble does burst. And these people that are winding up their supporters on both sides, shame on you. Shame on you. And like I say, if you listen to shows right now,
this is The Week at Coles.
What are these people saying? What's the world going to look like in 3 or 4 months? Then go back and look how accurate they were. And then be really honest with yourself and say, well, did they genuinely think that? Or were they playing me? Oh no. Have I been nudged? Have I been played? Have we all been played? Join us on the other side. Jimmy will take this even deeper. I hope I'm wrong. Send me your email. Tell me I'm wrong. But my gut tells me, oh boy, stand by. We'll be right.
Get down, get down. 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 Get down, get down.
No hate, no hype, no fear.
Wars are psychological just as much as they are physical, just as much as they are economic. Listen up.
We tax you your peace of mind. We construct lies to make them true. We tell it, we sell it, you buy it, I get mine. There is no freedom.
Welcome back. And do you think Kev Baker, the king of the woo, likes to sit here and be so negative when it comes to what's going on in America and around the world right now? Oh, trust me, it kills me inside. It kills me inside. But I tell you what, it would damage me more to blow smoke up your tuchus and tell you it's going one way or it's going another way. And, you know, I'd massage the confirmation bias of one group. I'd lose the respect of another. But I'm going to run the risk of losing everyone and tell you that you're all being played. We've been played forever, but in the past 4 to 6 years, I've never seen anything like this in my life. And you've all lived it as well. You've been seeing it. 2020 has just been the amalgamation, the coming of age of 4 to 6 years of intensive social engineering. And I say intensive to the level of when they look back in this 50, 60, 70 years from now, you know, MK Ultra and stuff like that, that's the kind of stuff that we've had hour upon hour on shows doing, exposing all of the crazy stuff they were doing to their own people back in the day. Imagine what they say about what's been done to the people right now, whether it's through COVID, whether it's through that election debacle over there, the Great Reset. Imagine what people will be researching and finding out about what we're living under right now over here. And Jimmy, I'm going to come back to you. You've been looking at this in greater detail. You've been really deep diving into some of the kind of mind control stuff aspects around this. I heard you and Epic. I caught a little bit of a show that you done just last week there. I think it was one of your Friday shows. Talk to me, Jimmy, and talk to the audience, more importantly, about what it is you're seeing. And again, Jim, you know me. I don't like coming on here and saying things are grim. But if they're grim, they're grim. And what I see, it looks pretty grim, Jim. You like that?
I do. And, I'm your token American over here.
Oh, you're nobody's token American. Nobody puts Jimmy in the corner, man. Nobody puts Jimmy in the corner.
Well, okay, so there's a couple of aspects to this. So there's the overall social engineering, and then there's the microcosmic social engineering that's been going on out of Austin, Texas. Now, from my stuff that we've been doing on these extremist groups and the social engineering and the memetics, it's clear to see that there's been a major operation running over there at the info war for the last 4 years. And so let's just rewind.
And Jimmy, thanks to your good friend, John Brisson, I think we know who Jonesy works for. He works for the Council for National Policy. And when Alex Jones tells you he's the tip of the spear, that ain't some cool little throwaway kind of thing like my Alaska from Australia to Alaska. It's not anything like that. It's the tip of the spear, a spear, a very, very it's a spear that belongs to SOCOM, Southern Command. And when Jonesy's telling you he's speaking to insiders, he could probably use the word handlers and still get away with it. Because, yeah, he does have deep contacts because he is connected to the CNP and to SOCOM. And, yes, literally, he's the tip of their spear, Jimmy.
That's right. And info war is a military technique and a technology. Now, let's just look at Alex Jones real quick. He's always been a character that struggled for legitimizing himself in the eyes of the media to be respected. And so he's always been, sort of in the alternative zone where no real people would come on his show to talk with him because for fear that he would make a mockery of the interview just to make himself look better, cause a scene to say how he just destroyed the globalists or whatever. So enter in, you see these different characters that have popped in over the years that used to work for administrations, and he tries to say, oh, well, they work for this administration or that administration, and that makes them legitimate, and because they're talking to me, now I'm legitimate. My name's Alex Jones, and this is the Info War. So one of those was, what's that guy, the guy that worked for Reagan who said the plane went down and you found the guy having coffee and he tried to tie it to the Q thing.
Jerome Corsi.
Yeah, Jerome Corsi. There's another CMP shill right there. Bam. So he brings him in. Oh, I'm legitimate. He used to work for Reagan. Blah, blah, blah. Now, here comes, we don't have much time. I got to give you this information.
Go for it, dude.
Now, here comes Roger Stone. Okay, Roger Stone did just materialize out of nowhere.
Oh, Jimmy, you'd have been proud of me last week. I was almost on a show with Roger Stone, and I refused to do it because of the abuse I've given that man on and off air. I couldn't do it, Jimmy. I couldn't do it. But yeah, Roger Stone, for me, he was there when they built the swamp.
He was, and he was a dirty trickster for who? Nixon.
And he's got a tattoo of Nixon all over him, right?
That's right. Well, he's a Nixonian.
That means you're a bad person. I mean, that's just me just stating a fact.
No, but he's a Nixonian person, and here he comes, and he comes in, and I watched the documentary, and I watched the man's face as he was saying, Alex Jones had this big audience and this and that and the other thing. And he almost wanted to just smile because I could just see that he had that conversation in the background going, listen, all we got to do is get this Alex Jones audience, and we got everything we need, because all of a sudden, here comes Roger Stone. Here comes Alex Jones. What happens to Alex Jones? He turns into a complete Trumper from that point forward, and begins to actually influence what Trump is saying on stage. Things Alex Jones is saying on his show are turning up in Trump's speeches. Trump is resonating with the patriot community through what he's getting off of Alex Jones and Roger Stone.
And not only that, I think you have to add into that, Jimmy, the big data. The big data that was used by the Trump campaign in identifying that not the people that were total patriots, but the ones that were on the fence, the ones that could be nudged, just shifted slightly by using triggers, the correct trope at the right time. Hillary for prison, all these catchy little things that came up. All of that is part of the same thing, and it should be no surprise that Alex Jones sounds like the US president and the US president sounds like Alex Jones. Why? Because they're both working from the same big data that has been pulled together, and with AI and memetics and all the stuff we see on social media, they're controlling an entire group of people. People have been brainwashed. Call it that if you want. Memetic warfare is a cool kind of modern kind of nomenclature term for brain. Yes, you can imagine what the other word I used was there. But would you agree that plays into it, Jimmy, that they've used that? Listen, forget sides. Okay, you got to appreciate we're outside of that. We're not taking sides here. We're pointing out that everyone's been played with, but it's so easier and it's so much easier to demonstrate and use examples from the movement that got hijacked. Many of the people that were in the truth community, I don't like the term myself anyway, but they got hijacked. Why? How did that happen? I thought these people were awake. That's how clever memetic warfare is. And you become a part of something without even realizing it. And before you know it, because you're caught up in it all, it's only people on the outside looking in that can go, wow, what the bloody hell happened there? How did we go from here to there in 4 short years? Jimbo, sorry, man.
No, I mean the thing is that once you get addicted to the good stuff, okay, it's hard to go back to that weak tea over there on the mainstream media. So you're not going to – so once you've gotten yourself attuned to the psychology of what's going on over in Austin, Texas, you can't really go to the mainstream because it just doesn't seem like it tells you the truth. Like you've been spun to the point where you think the only place to find the truth is this one source, this one place, when that's not the truth. Because how can you make an educated decision if you don't hear both sides of the argument? If you don't go listen to what other people think that are outside of your filter bubble, you are living in a fantasy world.
Jimmy, that was like Kerry Cassidy on Twitter the other day. She had put up like a bunch of figures about how Donald Trump had these millions of Twitter followers, millions of Instagram followers, and she put it head to head with Biden's followers, and then made the ridiculous statement of, you see, there's no way he could have won this election. Look at their social media numbers. Newsflash. The real world isn't social media, and social media isn't the real world. And if you're trying to gauge social media for something that's going to happen in the real world, good luck with that, Jimmy, right? Good luck. Let's not even add in the bot accounts, the foreign accounts that couldn't vote for Donald Trump. Let's not even think about that, you know?
Yeah, well, the thing about it is, man, is a lot of people might have voted for Biden, that silent majority. Maybe they voted for Biden. I don't know. Maybe the election was totally stolen and it's going to be given to Biden. What difference does the storyline make? It makes no difference. You're trying to decide which daddy is going to be yours and hold your hand through the next second phase of whatever's going to happen. Do you want the daddy on the right to smack you in the ass, or do you want the daddy on the left to hold your hand? What do you want? Who do you want to be in charge of your future? That's what's at stake in America. And a lot of people on either side are so polarized at this point that they think their whole way of life is literally at stake. There's so many extremist groups out here ready to roll. It's not even funny.
Talk to us about that, Jim. You were going to get into the extremist side of things. I mean, here's one of the reasons I love America. Because of the Second Amendment and the reason why you've got the right to bear arms and the fact you can form citizen militias and things like that, state militias, whatever name you want to give it, that, to me, that's a very appealing thing about a country, about why people love America. But with mimetic warfare being played around for so long, has it become dangerous now, Jimmy? Are these people on the edge of the seat like I was talking about? Are they ready to go?
Well, as far as the extremist groups are going, there's plenty of people that have come back from these endless wars in the Middle East who have been weaponized by the information on Alex Jones's channel and other channels like this, where they turn themselves against the government. And there are a lot of people, both left and right, that have been turned against the government. So the government's the enemy, the government, this and that. We got to show. And so the thing that I did, the report that I recently did, what I found was that there were a lot of people that were talking about these lone wolf style attacks, that they were that lone wolf attacks. One of the attacks, they said they were going to attack the grid, all this stuff. Now, these are ex-military people. Now, even in this report, the information was put forward by PBS, by some research that was done, that these groups were literally rejoining the military so they could go in and pilfer night vision and all this stuff out of these facilities. Groups of these people, listen, this is no joke, ladies and gentlemen. And if you think you're out there calling for civil war, and you think a civil war is anything close to a good idea, trust me when I tell you, it's the worst idea possible. And let me tell you another thing. This ain't 1776, man. I mean, if I want to knock you down, all I got to do is hit you with a ultrasonic weapon, and I'll have you laying on the floor puking in your house while I walk in and take your guns and put tie wraps around your wrists and drag you out to the camps. You really got to think about it. You really got to think about whether or not you want martial law. And then if there is martial law, who's going to be your daddy? Is it going to be Biden? Is it going to be Trump? Nobody knows, Kev. Nobody
That
knows.
martial law, that was the thing that my man Jonesy used to warn about all the time, and it didn't come in the left and it didn't come in the right. It was both of them. The left-right paradigm, it was nonsense. There's criminals on both sides. And here's a news flash. There's also pedophiles on both sides. There's also people that have sold out the country to China on both sides. Okay, and if you're against vaccinations, then how's about rolling up your sleeve for Trump's vaccination? Was that going to be a good one? These people are all thinking about themselves. They've all got their own agendas, and the last people they care about, if you're in America, it's Americans. If you're in Scotland, the SNP don't care about Scottish people. They're more interested in getting migrants into the country. Not that I've got anything against migrants, but they do it for an agenda. They do it because not many Scottish people vote for SNP anymore because they're hated. Why? Because they don't like the Scottish people. I know you can go down to England. Do you think Boris Johnson has got the English population's best interests at heart? Let's go to Europe and the EU. Do you think they look after their people? You know, one leader I can think of in recent times, and he was no hero. He was just as bad as the rest of them. If you were an enemy of this guy, you were gone. But Gaddafi, he actually seemed to do things that benefited not just his people. Imagine, like, once he'd taken care of his own people, he was actually talking about taking care of the whole of Africa. He was going to give them water. Have you checked what would happen in Libya before it became the kind of quagmire it is now? If you got married, you'd be given money. You'd get paid for a foreign education. You know, okay, maybe you had to come back and work in a Libyan hospital, things like that. Listen, the guy was no hero. He was a bad dude as well. But I tell you what, when you put him up against some of these other buggers that we've got, he becomes like a shining example, Jimmy. Look at Assad. Look at Assad in Syria. Civil war worked out well for the Syrians, didn't it? A civil war that didn't even exist. It only existed in the mainstream media. You know, you had Syrians going, there's no civil war here. And now look how that worked out for them. Do you think for 1 minute in America that these things can't happen to you? Well, I'll tell you what, from the outside looking in, it looks like it can. And it looks like it is. And I worry, Jimmy. I genuinely worry. I hope to God people come back here come Inauguration Day and say, Baker, that's why you don't talk about politics. You're an a-hole. You don't know what you're talking about. You're not even as good as a broken clock. And if I'm wrong, I'll hold my hands up, and I'll tell you what, I might even walk away into the sunset. Because at that point, what is the point? It's like banging your head off a brick wall. It truly, truly is.
And is it going to be, are people going to say are they going to, follow their own words? When last time when the liberals lost, the liberals didn't get into office, and everybody said, look at them snowflakes, man. Look at those crybabies, man. Man up, man. Man up. You lost. Suck it up. Are people going to suck it up on the right because they lost? Are they going to suck it up? I don't know.
Not from what I've been hearing, Jimmy. Nope.
Yeah. Kev, I want to point something out. This lockdown coming up into this election season, and everything that's happened and everything that everybody's typed in on the internet and all their input and everybody's been, it's like Jade Helm 3, the final episode where they scrape every single last bit of these people making these comments now. And the reason I'm pointing that out is because recently there's been a big worldwide pushback against these measures that have been going on for the lockdowns. And there was a dude I'm bringing this up because there was a guy over in Germany who was an anti-lockdown person, and he was making a bunch of posts. Guess what happened to him?
Taken out at gunpoint.
They kicked his door in and came in with machine guns and dragged him out of his house. So, I mean,
Germany right now, Jimmy, I was showing Nancy this the other day. Remember I always told you Antifa over in Europe slightly different than the Antifa, Well, Antifa over here are out in the streets fighting with anti-vaxxers and anti-COVID people. Yes, in Germany, this was like two counter-protests. You had the anti-vaxxers versus the pro-vaxxers in Antifa. And things are starting to boil up nicely. And if you're in the UK, I can only speak to where I'm at. Do not me a favour, do yourself a favour. And as wild and as angry as some of you are, resist as much as you can the sharing of information, the posting of information, and I'll tell you why. Over in the UK, when you start to look beyond the people pushing some of the narratives, and yeah, David Icke's a very focal kind of point for the anti-COVID side of the debate, but there's other people there as well. And when you start to look into who these other people are connected to, you start to find the roads lead back to think tanks and nudge groups that, get this, they belong or are associated with or they take money from SAGE. Now, SAGE in the UK isn't just a thing you can blow about the house to get rid of unwanted spirits. No, it's our scientific group that give us all of these crazy things like the lockdown, social distancing. So when I say just keep your powder dry on those posts, on December the 10th, I'm going to have the pleasure of having somebody called Neil, wait till I get it. I'm mistaken his name. Yeah, it's because I was talking about our guy Neil Kramer as well the weekend, but Neil Sanders is coming on to the show.
Great.
He talks about Cambridge Analytica, but he's also got the paper trail that's going to show you that a lot of these people in the UK that are the face of the other side, the anti-lockdown, the anti-vaccination, all this stuff, they connect directly back into groups such as, let me just read some of them out here to give you an idea what it's like in the UK. We've got a governmental disinformation campaign going on over here right now. We have got a rapid response unit that answers directly to the cabinet. That's a rapid response unit to any narratives that appear online, ladies and gentlemen. There's 3,000 to 4,000 active service personnel in 77th Brigade and 13th Signal Regiment, and they can call on up to 20,000 physical cyber warriors to put out counter-narratives, to take on disinformation, and to control the flow of information in this country. There's also something called the Department of Culture, I think movies and sport, but they've got a fake news unit. All of them answering directly to the Cabinet Office. Now, that's before we even start with GCHQ, MI5, MI6, the Joint Biosecurity Centre, places like this. And when Neil comes onto the show, he's going to show you that a protest coming up in the UK, it's either this weekend or maybe the weekend just gone by, the people running that protest are getting money from the same groups that are fighting misinformation and disinformation, and they're all working for the government. So why do I tell you to be very careful about what you post right now? Because you're getting put in a group. You're getting put on a list, and they know who you are, and they know how to play with you. Big time. And, Jimmy, it's beyond even posting things now. Because another quick headline down here that really flies alongside this perfectly. AI can run your work meetings. A new wave of startups is trying to optimize meetings from automated scheduling tools to facial recognition that measures who's paying attention. So when you're staring into your phones, and how many times now when you go to news websites does it want you to accept cookies and allow access to this, that, and the other? They're literally watching your emotional reaction to the stories that you're reading. That is how creepily they know you. Jimmy, I think people need to be aware of just what they're posting, what they're sharing, and the fact that both sides are so controlled here, dude. So controlled.
They're taking your temperature and they're going to push your button anytime they want. If you're on the edge and you're ready to snap, you're ready to be that guy that does that thing that everybody talks about, don't do it. Don't do it. Call somebody. Call an AA hotline. And that's another thing. If you're alone this time, call AA. Just talk to somebody. You don't have to be an alcoholic, but talk to them. There'll be somebody there for you. You don't have to be alone. And just remember that, and try to stay, try to, like Kev said, keep your powder dry. We're being engineered to a flashpoint, ladies and gentlemen. We're being engineered to a flashpoint. You don't fight fire with fire, man. You fight fire with water.
We're playing the long game, Jimmy. We're going for longevity. We're going to be here commentating on this apocalypse, on this changing of the age until they drag us out kicking and screaming like that guy in Germany and the barrel of a gun on our neck. When I feel that cold metal on the back of my neck, that's when I hang on. I'll be hanging up the microphone then, Jim, right?
Yeah, well, hopefully that won't be anytime soon.
Nah, dude, over it. It's all good in Scotland. It's all good. They'll just disappear me into a Scottish Nationalist Party camp. Yeah, make of that what you will. Listen, folks, this has been brilliant. Jimmy in for hour number 2. Don Wiskin, hour number 1. Remember, Lucky coming up right after the break. Quantum Connection.
Oh, mercy, mercy me. Oh, things ain't what they used to be. No, no. Where did all the blue skies go? Poison is the wind that blows from the north and south and east. Whoa, mercy, mercy me. Oh, things ain't what they used to be. No, no. Oil wasted on the oceans and upon our seas, fish full of mercury. Oh, mercy, mercy me. Oh, things ain't what they used to be. No, no. Radiation underground and in the sky. Animals and birds who live nearby are dying. Oh, mercy, mercy me. All things ain't what they used to be. What about this overcrowded land? How much more abuse from man can she stand now? Oh, no, 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 my sweet Lord, breathe.
All right. The bird is the word. And happy Thanksgiving. So I'm going to go in the house and cook some food. Get some food going. And then I'll be back in about 2 hours. I'll be back with some content. We'll have an orphans party right here. Why the hell not? Because I got nothing better to do. I'd rather hang over here with you guys. So we'll see. We'll see what's happening. I'll make something happen. See what I can find. And try to see if I can get something that we won't get hammered for.
funky soul. Get up, get yourself together, and drive your funky soul.
All right. We'll go out with some James Brown. Heading in the house. Get something going, and I'll see you guys at noon Pacific. See if I can find any other of my orphan friends to come along with me. We'll see. All right. Talk to you soon.
That funky soul. When I say Sagittarius, that funky soul. When I say Pisces, holla, and drive your funky soul. When I say Gemini, and drive that funky soul. When I say Capricorn, and drive your funky soul. When I say Scorpio, Virgo, and drive your funky soul. If I say Cancer, can you drive that funky soul? Raise up!